Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Appalachian Bigfoot Encounters. So I got some of this footage to go through. Earlier this month, I recorded a footage of Sasquatch walking across the woods, and the light was glowing. So I went back to that footage and researched a little bit, and I come across some compelling footage I was wanting to bring to the channel. So here we go. So here we look at this image right off the bat, and you have to really zoom in and look at it to really get a good idea of what we're looking at here. But so right here we have a Sasquatch. We got two Sasquatches right here, and I'm gonna go to markup. First, I'm gonna take a picture so I can do a double zoom to get in here with the marker. One Sasquatch right here. Here's his nose. Here's his eyes. There's his mouth. He is facing to his right. All right. And then here is a juvenile right here. You can see his top of his eyebrow ridge area. His eyes are in there. He's a littler guy. And then here's the hair from the adult. And there's its hairline. And it's just sitting there watching me from right here. Both its eyes are watching me. And he's got that little juvenile there in front of him with the typical conical head shape. And see, he's looking at me right there. You can see his eyes. He's got a shade lens on that eye, and its eye's partially open. And he's got his lips right here, sucking on that tree branch or that tree root or whatever. They live off vegetation, so he's eating right there. Let me take those markups off so you can see. But yeah, he's eating. Isn't that something? That's pretty good footage, considering being taken at night. So I'm going to try to clean that up a little bit and see. And look at this guy. You can see his eyes. Look at his little nose. He got a tiny little nose. That almost looks like one of those gray hybrids with that little tiny nose on him. But he has that elongated face like a typical Sasquatch, but that nose is real tiny. And this could be just an older juvenile, adolescent juvenile, I should say, or a young adult. I don't know. If this is the female, maybe the female has a tiny nose characteristic. I'm not sure. But you can see that face plain as day. I mean, I can, anyways. You know, jumps right off the screen at me. Hopefully, it does you too. Hopefully, you can see it. Um, I'm going to try to, I don't want to overdo the definition on it, but I'm going to try to bring out some more detail on that baby right there. Let me turn some contrast on there. There we go. Get a little more vibrant right there. Look at that face. Just amazing. That's Sasquatch, folks. That's not pareidolia. That is real Sasquatch, hands down. That's not trickery of any kind. That's Sasquatch. That's amazing footage. All right, let me see here. Okay, so we see this couple here. So let's move up here a little bit. We'll see this baby right here. Look at this little guy. Okay, and here's the. Let me look here again. Let me see here. This one here, he's looking around the tree, which I did a video on him a while back. Let me see here. Okay, right here on this Sasquatch, we got an eye right here, and the other eye's over here. And there's the nose, little tiny slits for nostrils right there. And then there's the mouth. And then you can see the hair coming up around the chin and the mouth, and then the hair right here on the side. And it's using that tree for cover. Most likely a little juvenile, a young adolescent right there. Look at that detail. Look at the eyes, the nose. It's quite something. Um, so I'm going to take a picture of that. I would like to edit some of these features for each single one if I can. Let's see. Here's another Sasquatch. Now, I think this one here is a lot bigger than the others because he's at the height of it right here. He's at the tallest portion of it. Um, what I mean here by that is here's a huge eye right here, big eyeball. You can see its pupil, and that's its left eye. Its right eye is over here somewhere, and it's using that structure to break its face up, right? And then it's got another Sasquatch on top of its head, and there's the forearm of the other Sasquatch on top of his head. Here's his eyes, his nose, his mouth. But look at the what interests me, that what I think's phenomenal about that is look at the bone structure in his arms. You can even see his freaking. You can see his elbow and his arms right here. Check that out. The definition. You can even see the hair on his arms right there. Quite phenomenal. Let me take those markings off there so you can see a little better. Yeah, look at that. He's got his arm folded up there, resting on their head, resting on the larger guy's head. And he's got his fingers up to his mouth. Look at that. He's got his hands up in his mouth, which you can see his one finger right here. And his other three fingers are in his mouth. He must be getting something out of that tree to eat. They do feed off the tree organ, and tree organ, I mean the root ball system. That's the tree organ. That's the main system. That's where all the fluids are of the tree, the life-giving fluid. So they'll prime that tree, and they will puncture into that tree bark and tap into those tree roots, and they'll suck up through the tree vein, and they'll prime it, and they'll drink off that tree. That's how they survive. Especially these larger Sasquatches, they take so much sustenance to survive. If they had to survive on meat alone, they would devastate uh, the deer population. But they survive off of the trees mainly. Okay, yeah, look at that guy. Absolutely amazing. And you see how big that eyeball is there. Check that out. Huge. If we look over here, there's a couple more Sasquatch here. This guy here, his skin is a little bit like reddish color, right? And he's got a little juvenile on top of his head. You can see his eyes right there. And here's his eyebrow ridge, and his eyes are right there. His mouth is right there. But that little juvenile's on his head. You can see his little hand right here resting on the tree. And then right here is the mother, most likely, right here. This the tinier Sasquatch race here. The species. You can see its face right here, and it's using this branch as to split up its silhouette. But its eyes, it's looking under that branch. There's its mouth and its little nose. Um, it's nocturnal. Check it out. It's hanging out there. It's using. Look how big its pupils is. So I'm going to do a little bit of adjustment here, and see if I can't get a better image out of this here. Turn it into its own image here. Let me see. There we go. About right there. Look at that definition on that little guy on top of his head. Check him out. His nocturnal shade lenses is that the white off white color. All right, and I think I was kind of off on his drawing of the adult there. Now that I've lowered that contrast, I can see the outline of his face a little bit better. And I'll mark that up a little bit better in just a minute. Let me see here. Okay. Okay, so on this guy, well, excuse me, just a second. All right, on this guy, his eyes are right here, and this is the tip of his nose right there, and there's his mouth. You can see his tongue right there. All right, and there's his jawline, hairline, and then he's got that little baby on his little juvenile baby on his head there, reaching up this way. Yeah. And then here's the mother. Look how big her eyes are underneath that tree limb. Her skin is more grayish, lightish grayish, greenish color. They they stain their trees. They stain their fur and their hair. They stain it with fluids from different trees and saplings, and they use sap and for certain camouflage patterns and different things like that. They're masters of cover and concealment, and they use the force to their max ability. And that's why these guys are hard to find and they're hard to spot. You know, this is not pareidolia, folks. This is real deal Sasquatch. Look at that. Absolutely amazing, man. Okay, now, like I always say, I'm probably missing a few here and there, so uh, feel free to speak up if you see I'm missing a Sasquatch here. So this big Sasquatch, check this out. This big Sasquatch, his head goes like this. His big eye's right here, right? Here's his eyebrow ridge. And his second eye is right there. He's massive. And he's leaning over looking down at me. But look at that. There's his second eye. Look at that white. You can see the white. And then you can see his large pupil right there, cornea. And then there's the white of his eye. His eye is huge. That's a big Sasquatch. Most likely he's a mid-sized giant, probably 10 foot or 12 foot or somewhere in there. But look at that little image right there of that Sasquatch. That's so perfect. See his ears, his eyes. And then there's the side view of that Sasquatch. You see his nose there, his mouth, there's his eye. Looking up. Most of the time when I see these Sasquatches, I watch where their eyes are, where they're looking. And they'll direct me right to the other Sasquatches. That's how I find the giants most of the time, because they hide so well, and I know right where they are by watching these other Sasquatches. Look at his eye here, like that. You can see his teeth. Um, but right here is one of the large adults. You can see his eye here, and his other eye right there. He's camouflaged real well. His hair is sitting back here. He's leaning around that tree, watching me. And then we got this large Sasquatch here at the bottom. Okay, I got a couple more images here to show you. Let me see here. We went over that one. Uh, There's a Sasquatch standing right there up against that tree. You can see the fur. You can see his ear right there and his face. Um, so there's his conical head. His eyes are right there. There's his nose. There's his mouth. Here's his little ear. That's it. That's where he's standing at. Well hidden. Um, but then you see him right here. He's just standing up against that tree, um, staying covered and concealed, staying up against that tree, well hidden. Now this right here looks like another Sasquatch right here, looking, leaning down, looking at me. That's an adult. Um, so basically, his eyes are right there. There's his nose. There's his mouth. His mouth's gaped open, right? And he's leaning down, looking at me. And it looks like he's got his hand coming down here, and he's picking up a little juvenile that's down here. He's scooping up a little baby off the ground. He's leaned over, picking the baby up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click save to that, and I'll come down here and I'll try to bring the image out a little bit so you can get a little bit more of his features here. So we'll turn the sharpness up quite a bit. Turn a little bit of the definition up. I'm going to try to add some brightness to it to pull that image out of the background there so we can see. Try to get its eyes to come in. Okay, so we can start to see its eye there a little bit. Its left eye right there. See its mouth. Um, Try to get a little bit of contrast in there. Maybe I can lighten it up some. Trying to get a better image on its teeth there. That's mouth wide open. Okay, we can see its left eye there a little bit. You can see his arm reaching down there. Look at that. And see this little baby down here. Look at this little juvenile right here looking at me. He's got his eyes looking up at me, sitting there. That's what he's doing, is picking that baby up. Just amazing. I'm going to screenshot that. Try to make a video of it. You see its hair is real patchy right there. You can see its skin on its shoulder blade there. And see its the rest of its arm there. Its hair's come off. But just amazing. Now I could probably do a little bit more work on that, on the shadows and whatnot, and get some more detail out on that image there. But I think that's pretty good for what I got there. I don't know if I can make it any better than what I got. Um, we'll see here. Maybe that might be a little better. Right there. I tell you guys, if I had top dollar equipment, man, just imagine the footage I'd be raking in right now. If I had the equipment, we'd be getting phenomenal footage. But my channel don't grow worth shit. Nobody hits the subscribe button. And YouTube has got me shadow banned, I believe. But anyways, we got TikTok, so I'll be headed there, headed to that platform mainly from here on out. Anyways, like I said, like, subscribe, ring the bell. Peace.